For a lot of young men today, being an entrepreneur has never been more visible. It's a very glamorized profession, I think. How does a young man today know whether he is actually built for entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's almost like it's being a rock star nowadays, isn't it? Being
Yeah,
an
it is.
entrepreneur. I feel it in my own country. People come to you and they want to have take pictures with you, and all these things. And that is of course another way. When I built up businesses, it was not like that. We were more like businessmen. The entrepreneurship as thing was not something we really talked so much about. But for young people nowadays, which of course nowadays I spend a lot of time advising young guys, mostly from my own country, about how to be an entrepreneur, how to build a business, because I am, of course, a hardcore global entrepreneur. And without actually knowing what I did at that time, I, of course, now can see what kind of skills you need to do, and I see they're so skilled, so many of them. And many people, they're very, also in my country, we are very pessimistic about things. We come from Scandinavia, the old socialist system and all this. But I must say that the young guys nowadays, they are so talented. They know so much about it because they can see it on the social medias. They can see the podcast. They can learn for us who really did it and built these global brands. And in my days, I couldn't do that. So I see that the skills that they have, they possess extremely a lot of them already because they followed these guys who really did it. What they need to do is, and where they all fall down is, how many bullets are you willing to take, because I'm 55 years old now. I built one of the biggest brands in the world and I have a lot of bullet holes, I was shut down hard, by the tax authorities, by the medias. You get so criticized and it is, as I always say, to be an entrepreneur is an endless humiliation. You have to get up every day and be humiliated by the banks, by the suppliers, by your customers, but you just have to eat the shit on the bigger purpose. So a lot about it is about how much are you willing to take the shits that coming, bear down your ego, look at the target at the end, because at the end of the day, when you get to the top, nobody thinks about all the humiliations you need to take on your journey. So enjoy the humiliation, see them as a reward. I had 500 front pages in my country with my name and face on it. So I know what it's like, and 70% of them was not nice, They really take me down like crazy because I'm not very Danish in my character and they can't get their hands around me. So of course they have to explain it by taking me down with everything, The tax authorities tried to kill me many times, and all these different things. So it's just about, the young generation nowadays, they have the skills, no doubt. They have the knowledge. They have an extreme hunger, which I enjoy to experience every day. The question is just how much are you willing to take on your journey, How much pain can you take? It's like running a marathon, nobody's built for running 42 kilometers, but it's going to be painful the last 15 ones, and that's where you just have to eat it.
I feel like it's also, especially talking about growing an audience, growing a brand online, it's like running a marathon, but in reverse. Actually, in a marathon, you crawl over the finish line and you're sweaty. That's what it's like trying to get it off the ground. Nobody's paying attention. Everything's working against you. And then you gain some momentum and you start jogging and then you start running and things happen.
And then you have to keep the hunger.
Yes.
Never settle down.
Yes. That's a difficult one. When you first achieve your initial aim, I had mine quite clearly defined, and I achieved it quicker than I thought. And that kind of set me back for a few months. I didn't really know where to go next. I had to find my next goal. I had to find the next conquest.
I never reach a budget in my life.
Really?
Because I always put myself under so much pressure. But still reaching 80% is a big victory. But I never reach my body. My teams never reach the targets that I set because I just changed them during the period and put them higher. And that's, you can say, is what characterizes many guys who build these enormous brands, is that the hunger is unlimited. We don't do that for the money any longer because it doesn't matter any longer. It's just because we can. And in Pandora, of course, I was the crazy guy. We know that my two co-founders, they were more, they were relaxed. They left the company relatively early going to the golf course. And they were as well 15 years older than me. That was not where I was at all. I was just there. I loved my company. I loved my business. I loved the job that I had. I actually didn't care so much about whether we would make the extra 5,000 a day or something like this, because for me, it was about building the brand, getting the things done. And I set very early on my Pandora journey 2 main targets that actually followed me to the day that I stopped in the company. And that was that every woman in the world should know about Pandora. Very simple target. And secondly, they should have the ability to buy it. So that means, of course, the distribution side from the other side. And the world is big, and you never finish that journey. I would say now, looking into 24, 25, I can feel when I travel around the world that we got there, that every single woman I meet on this planet, they know Pandora. And they can buy it. Now, of course, helped a lot through the online businesses around the world. But now I think we are represented in 115 countries. But still, that was my vision already in 2002, 2003. And I remember in a General Assembly meeting in 2007 for all the Pandora distributors around the world, I said, I can feel it's coming already. This is going to happen. And the question is, if we want to continue grow this business for the next 30 years, we need to fight life on another planet because we're going to succeed this first mission, And I can see now I get help to that with Elon, so everything is fine on that matter as well, So I just could feel that it was coming long before we actually reached that goal. But I set the vision very high in the beginning, and I do that. I get this clear side. The same, I also did some sports teams, and I don't do sports teams to be number 2. And I don't do sports teams just to be number 1. I do sports teams to do the best ever. And that is where you have to, because then you will never get, like you maybe did, you never get reached by your goals, because I never reach a goal, a budget or target in my life, because I always set the barrier so high that I will never reach it. But if you do, then you reach the stars, like Pandora. It's reaching the stars, of course.
Let's talk about the kind of creative side of Pandora and the people side and how that brand became what it was. Talk us back to the beginning. The jewelry industry is one of the oldest industries in the world. People have been wearing jewelry since the beginning of time. I think what Pandora did that was special is it changed people's relationship with their jewelry, both as the wearer and as a gift. When did those ideas start to crystallize? What were some of the first creative breakthroughs?
Such a brilliant concept, I can tell you. It's so brilliant. It's timeless, You can never disrupt Pandora, because it's not like some technological revolution can take over these products that we are producing. So it is by far, you can say, the most talented concept and brand that I ever saw and ever promoted. And the idea and the brilliancy behind this is, of course, the repeat sales. Now we're talking business, because you buy this bracelet, which is a very simple snake chain, 11 grand, cost you $60 or something like this. But that's not the business model of it. The business model is creating all these unforgettable moments and put into it. And when I realized what happened to the female, nature, mood, spirit, when she gets this bracelet on and start collecting these charms, I thought, oh my God, there is no limits to where we can bring this storytelling. Because, it's limitless how much we can invent around the Pandora bracelet. And we just kept that core business running. And it's still exactly the same thing that happens. And many then say, won't people get tired of Pandora? It seems like they will never. Because now we've been in the business for 20 years, meaning, and every woman knows it. And still our revenue grows 5 to 10% every single year. So it's not that they're getting tired of, but of course here we get helped a little bit by the numbers, guys, lovely schedule, the matrix, that every single day another 157,000 women appears on this planet. And that means that we will continue to grow forever and forever and forever with our Pandora business. I think that it is not unrealistic in the next 6, 7, 8 years that we will reach the milestone of 10 billion in revenue. And that is the brilliance of the concept. And when we found that product, because Pandora is unlike many other brands, it's very much based around one product. It's what we call a one product phenomenon. So 82% of our revenue is coming out of one product. And that is, of course, a little bit dangerous, but not when you have that kind of product. Then you just have to put water into it every single day and just keep running with the milk. So the business model is by far, you can say the repeat sales. And then we did something that nobody ever did before, because in jewelry, we normally know all the big brands. It could be Tiffany, Cartier, Bulgari. We all know them. all women, they have the same awareness degree as Pandora has. But of course, for a lot of people on this planet, they can't buy that because it's way too expensive, these prices. It's for the last 2-3% of the population in the world. But what we, as the only one ever did, and still did, nobody ever did what Pandora did, was that we put ourselves in the middle segment as a brand, as an affordable jewelry, because you can get a Pandora piece for 19 euro, for God's sake. And that means that we got to be the brand of the people. That means that you still get the same experience, the same happiness as when you go and buy a Tiffany, Bulgari, or whatever of the big brands. We created that segment in the middle of it, combined with a brilliant product, charm bracelets, and then all the money that we decided to invest in the branding of the company. So that was really the brilliant, and we have not been copied ever since. Many tried to get into the same segment, but the barrier is very high, and we own this segment by ourselves now, you know. So there's no limits to where you can say you can run with a brand like Pandora, but again, the product is sensational.
If you're enjoying this podcast, you will love the Gentleman's Digest. This is our weekly newsletter sent straight to your inbox, packed with insights and recommendations. You'll find the link to become a reader in the description.